Hello, my fearless friends. All right, this one is perfect for timing. We recorded it way back in like May of 2025, but given that it's post-Christmas and I'm willing to bet that at least one of your gifts was delivered by way of Amazon, this is a good one. We get to learn from a gentleman who created a very successful business and now helps other people in the whole finished by Amazon theory, practice, business model. So let's dive right in and listen to Neil Twa talk about what got him there and the process of the FBA business. All right. Well, Neil Twa. Thank you very much. I did say your last name correctly, right?
You got it. You nailed it. Nice job.
Perfect. And my last name's always confusing for people, so I always want to make sure. So
I'm waiting for somebody to come up with something new that I haven't heard yet before.
That's a fair point, right? Twa maybe would be the next
one. I've heard that one. Yeah, that was a great one.
There you go.
I had a project at IBM where the entire rest of the project I got called Twa because an MX agent misspoken on a speakerphone in the middle of our group.
Oh, well, there you go. I mean, you're following the footsteps of T-Pain, right? So it's all good.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Neil, tell us a little bit about yourself, because you have this, like you mentioned, you worked with IBM. You had as far as I understand, a fairly high role within IBM at one point. You left IBM, and now you've created this entire industry really around Amazon. And you've got your book, Almost Automated Income with FBA. You've got courses, all of these things, Voltage Digital Marketing. So give us a little insight into who you are and how you got to where you are.
Well, I'll try to keep it non-boring or things that my mom would consider interesting. I'm a family man, first and foremost. Been married for over 18 years now. I've got 4 daughters that are in their tween years, which I love. But we homeschool them here, so they're amazing girls. Get to be around them every day. We live on about 50 to soon to be 65 acres out here in the Ozark Mountains of Missouri. Absolutely love it. Homesteading, ducks and chickens and dogs and cats and garden and all kinds of fun stuff. Lots of mowing. I get to play with lots of tractors and equipment, which is always fun to do. So when the camera goes off, I get to go outside and play country for a while, which is a blast. Absolutely love it. Been a businessman for a while. Yeah, I've played the business guy in the corporate world for a while, which is very different than being in business for yourself. I did that. I got to be in an early stage startup called Sprint PCS when it launched the first mobile phone into the market. That was quite a ride. Watching that company go from the 5,000 badged employee. I was a contractor, and they had an intranet call for all employees and contractors to come be a part of this new division. And I put my hat in the ring, and about 19, 20 years old, I was inside of that startup, which was fun. By the time IBM came in and did a project, and then I got hired out of Sprint, we had like 80,000 employees. So it exploded extremely fast, about 5 years.
Yeah.
So I got to watch that grow like insane and spend some time at IBM, which is cool. But honestly, I never wanted to be in the corporate world. That's not what I was setting out to do. I actually went to college on a music scholarship. I was going to go play music and live in a van down by the river because that would have been cool. And be totally bored and exciting and love it all. Little Wynton Marsalis, Miles Davis kind of thing. And that didn't really make it anymore when the internet came. When the internet came, I was kind of like, I want to do something with the internet. I don't know what, I don't know how. I started in the technology and realized I wanted to be in the business. And that's where I kind of got into developing and playing with developing and learning it, because there wasn't really an academic track at that point. You just had to figure it out.
Yeah.
And so I just figured it out. And I got good enough to get a job. And I was actually good enough to keep my job. So in that process of learning my way through that and eventually getting into IBM, I became one of the first knowledge management practitioners at IBM, leading what was now the organizational components of building the large language models of AI today. 25 years later, I didn't realize what we were actually doing as we were doing that. But now I see exactly, where the roadmap led to. So I've been involved in AI sort of in the early stages, but got out of that to do my own business and consulting. And for 18 years, I've built a series of online and offline companies. I've had great success and I've had great failures in that process. But all along the way, I've had a lot of fun, met a lot of great people, eventually found my home in e-commerce, if you will. Okay. And went out of the entrepreneurial track and into business once I figured out what I wanted to be when I grew up, and got into physical products and brands, creating private label brands. And it was really to solve problems. It was to solve, I had the digital marketing aspect that I did very well. I actually did a lot of mobile marketing before anybody even knew what mobile marketing was. And then got into owning affiliate offers, but didn't really own the offer, affiliating somebody else's product, but I didn't actually own those two products. So when the product owner changed it, I had to, change gears. That got kind of old really fast. A lot of work. I turned it into more of a job than anything else. And so when I discovered the other half, which was physical products, I'm like, okay, this is where I want to be.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. So what a world, like 19, 20 years old, you're in the ground floor of mobile communication.
A mobile startup. Yeah. I'm actually assigned to a group of people to basically oversee the internal knowledge base, which at that point was like 50,000 web pages.
Wow.
And a team of like 5 people who were all probably twice my age. And we're told, here, this is your job now.
And were you busy teaching them how to troubleshoot their printers and everything else in the process too?
All of it. It was all hands on deck. It was the team, we were just fumbling our way through. This would have been in the 99, 2000 area.
Yeah, I was
Yep. So we were just kind of fumbling our way through what this whole thing was really at the end of the day. And websites and web pages and the technology and active server pages and, everything was moving extremely fast into databases and data-driven content and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And just the fast-paced growth of it required us to, innovate and create opportunities as quickly as possible to move more data because just more people were signing up faster than could handle.
Mm-hmm. And what a way to really build that muscle, that problem-solving muscle at such a young age. Truly, I don't know. I'm assuming we're both within our mid-40s at this point in our life, and
that's very kind. Thank you.
So you're welcome. So when we are looking at a 19, 20-year-old these days, we're like, man, I can't believe I did what I did in my 19 and 20s.
It's kind of weird, really, at the end of the day. I don't think I even knew what I was. I really didn't know what I was doing. Let's just call it what it is. What I figured out very quickly is I had an aptitude to just discover, to learn, and a tenacious appetite to just gain knowledge, gain information, and apply it. And it just became a normal part of who I was. I never realized it until I got thrown into the fire and had to swim. In the deep end. So when that came about, it just through those components of about 12 years of major, corporate move, I learned very quickly it's who you know that gets you there and it's what you know that keeps you there. Absolutely. And if you don't know it, figure it out. So some nights I was staying up till 2 a.m. in the morning figuring it out.
Yeah. Yeah. And clearly there was a passion there, right? There was enough there to connect you and excite you for it that you wanted to continue to learn.
Yeah, it was fun. I did. I really wanted to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I did. I really did.
That's good. And so
it was fun because it was so dynamic.
Oh, absolutely. And that industry, even to this day, shifts so much. That whole digital space shifts so much. As a kid, were you really curious and a problem solver naturally as well?
I was a guy that, I'd get a toy for Christmas and 2 months later I'd torn it apart and turned it into something else. My dad was a mechanical guy. He grew up under cars. We grew up in the cars with them. We did all kinds of stuff with our hands. And so maybe by natural conditioning or just natural affect, I understood and learned and just played with my hands and always had a desire to build things, create things. Thought for a little while in my life, I thought maybe being an architectural engineer would be cool.
Yeah, totally.
To go out and build or a mechanical engineer, that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
And, that all really just changed. Music was a big part of my life. That was so the creativity of it, the creativity of life, the flow of music. I particularly love jazz and the music of that. And it's all kind of more what you feel and in the moment as opposed to just a hard script.
Yeah, lots of intuition.
Yeah, it's just what you can create. Yeah. And so with engineering or mechanical things or whatnot, there's certain components that have to go back together. They have to fit in a certain way. If you go after, being a doctor, or my wife, who's an RN in a BSN, she has to do things a certain way. Doctors and lawyers and mechanical engineers, and there's just a process you can't move from. And for me, that felt very confining, felt very restrictive, right? Stay on the page, Neil. No, these are rules. No, those are just guidelines. So I kind of found as a natural age, I always wanted to push the boundaries. Yeah,
I also side with you quite a bit because I found that one of my favorite, probably unspoken phrases was rules are meant to be broken or challenged to the very best, because it doesn't mean that they're static. They can always move a little bit too. So, and that creativity piece, of course, it's such a natural thing. And I love that because when you have a natural desire to be creative, or you can't stay away from it, you see the world so differently. And
I saw the world as opportunity, and everything was a question, and not a no, but a KNOW.
Yeah.
And so I always wanted to know, no, no, no. And people would get annoyed, like, no, get back in your seat. And I found the longer I was in IBM to that last couple of years, I just got to be the annoying guy.
Right.
And that's when I realized I was like, okay, I can't stay within this confine anymore. I have to get out of here.
That's fair. Yeah. Because you hit certain level in that business suite, and you now have to play by their rules, or else you are making your way out one way or another anyways.
Rules I didn't want to play by anymore.
Yeah, that's fair.
And certain things I didn't want to do or compromise.
That's okay. So then give us what got you from the role that you were in with IBM to where you are now, because even though they're both digital, they still seem to present very differently as well. So what got you from one to the next?
Well, I mean, what I've learned in 18 years of business for myself is that there are all kinds of ways of doing business, but at the end of the day, there are fundamentals of business. So with accounting, cash or accrual, with the way you look at a profit and loss statement, the way you see the business, the way you do the offer, the way you handle the customers, the way, like, there is all of those components that I would say are probably 90% the same. Yep. The 10% difference really gets down to the type of business model you end up choosing. And with that 10%, it could sometimes feel like the 90 because maybe it's unknown, or maybe you don't know, or maybe you're struggling through it right now and you can't find your way through it. I sort of struggled with that a bit. As I mentioned, with the affiliate world, I was in the digital and the commerce space, but I was supporting somebody else's product. Yeah. So while I had 90% of that together and understood, the business of buying and selling, digital ads, if you will, I didn't own the product base. And with that, I couldn't own that last mile, which was the component of connecting to the customer, building the brand, building automation, building, less, more passive, even what we call passive to some degree. Yeah. For me, if you work something for 10 hours a week, that's considered passive. Yep. And depends upon, how much you make at the end of the day. But really, it got down to controlling the entire business, which is I believe the evolution of entrepreneurialism is discovering where all of that fits for you. And then the business leap to calling yourself a business owner is that last 10% where you discover the final step in where you're going to stay and where you're going to continue to grow. And then from there, it's just literally 2mm shifts to any business model. Like, I can adapt to real estate or commercial real estate because to me, it's all business at the end of the day. It's just another product. Yeah. Right. So once you start to kind of realize that, you can see where you should stay and you can see where you're careful not to go. So for me, e-commerce with physical brands is just it could be another business, another brand, another product type, but it's all in the same sphere at the end of the day. The one variable, the 10%, and that one is the offer. It is which particular product are we segmenting and, to that audience, but the rest of it is pretty much the same. Okay. So then I can just recreate new brands, which is fun because then it doesn't get boring. We have lots of creativity in this process and can continue to just move more and more brands into the marketplace, which in around 2012 is where I started. Okay. Amazing. So then, and Amazon was your home. That's where you got everything. Where I started. Running, and you're still in there with Amazon. And clearly you figured out the magic secret sauce within there. I would go as far as, I think what I found is that at the end, the tenacious person who's willing to put up with both Amazon's BS and just normal problem solving in business will sustain any opportunity they stay in. Yes. I've gotten kicked off Shopify for things that geopolitically they didn't like. And so they didn't like our business. And so they shut us down. So really, you're not safe in any online platform you don't fully 100% own. And then if you don't own the last mile of fiber, you still don't own that business because they can shut you off there. So if you complain about the tools, you're kind of missing the point. If you complain about which hammer you use, but you're building a house, you're actually missing the point, right? Yeah. So at this point, Amazon is just a hammer in my tool chest of different platforms and places where we acquire customers from. A lot of people will hear the word Amazon and think immediately all negativity, right? It's all bad. They steal your products. There's no opportunity, there's saturation, there's all this crap. And I will tell you that if you play at certain levels in Amazon, that's absolutely true, right? If you play at certain levels of Amazon now in this market economy where somebody's telling you for a $3,000 course, something that was 4 years or even 2 years ago, they're out of touch. Yeah. It changes so rapidly, so quickly that we stay on top of it, like literally every day, every week, just to stay ahead. And that's kind of what every business person does in their area of focus anyways.
Yeah.
You just can't take your eyes off of them because sometimes they'll do stupid stuff and you have to resolve it. And that is like any situation. So again, business at its core is just a series of solving problems.
Yeah.
You're solving your own problems in business, or maybe your business, agency, contract, consulting, or whatever is solving somebody else's problems, right?
Yeah.
And that is just business in a nutshell. So yeah, we stuck with Amazon because there is a huge market that has grown very, very large. It was a 2-lane highway in 2010. It's like an 8-lane highway now.
Yeah.
Right. And with so many people falling out of the market and the concern about tariffs and stuff are backing a lot of people out of the marketplace. In fact, they've got their first net negative seller growth that they've seen in the last 10 years. Those who are in the market are now still seeing that there's 5 billion searches on that, or impressions a month on Amazon, and there are 30% less sellers. So there's about 30% more traffic.
Yeah.
For those of us who are in the market, we're seeing extreme opportunity.
Yeah.
To double down, to inventory up, coming into Prime days and holidays that are coming up here in 2025. We're seeing tremendous growth and gains. One of my clients just posted their 200,000 in growth in their new business this year so far, and so they're just dialing in and optimizing, and they're set to do about $500,000 this year in their first year. So that's super exciting. So yeah, I stayed with it because there's a lot of opportunity, and it is a major channel. 49% of all U.S. e-commerce sales go through it. The other 51% are all the other places you can still go to after you start. I just found that if you're new, if you are an aspiring entrepreneur, if you're trying to figure out, hey, can I be in the e-commerce world and sell physical products? The one problem everybody has is getting eyeballs on the offer, right? It's paid traffic or media or social media or organic traffic. It's the same problem. To start off with, and the second one is what the heck do I actually sell, which is, a big problem we spent the better part of 10 plus years solving in our business and for our clients, building systems and processes and methodologies and software around that in order to ensure that we can produce a pipeline of good, in-demand, profitable products. And then by proxy, our clients get access to that too through our software.
Yeah, the world is your oyster is not always helpful because there's too many things to choose from. You got to pick the right grant.
There's a lot.
Right? So how does someone go and even if it's like a search within Amazon or whatever, how does someone go and determine what they're going to sell, what they want to sell? I mean, let's keep in mind, Amazon was originally selling books.
That's right. They were. And they actually bought a logistics company. And with that logistics company, they rebranded it as what everybody maybe knows today as FBA, or Fulfilled by Amazon, right? Which is that last mile to the door. You get it, I get it, when things show up 2 or 3 times a week. A homeschooling family in the country, we get a lot of stuff delivered by Amazon. Yeah. My wife finds it very easy and convenient, which is great. And so with that, you see the products moving to the last mile. That's what that logistics company is. And by the way, it's the 6th largest logistics company in the world now. Planes, trains, automobiles, all kinds of stuff. And they're now automating components. And I saw they're going to test market in San Francisco, automated trucks with robots. Ooh, this ought to be interesting.
Stay off the road.
I'm not sure I'm cool with all that just yet. We'll see. I've watched iRobot. I know how this might happen, or Terminator. But it's such a funny infrastructure, and it's so large, right? It can just move so much material. And it's such an easy way to automate the back ends of our process, right? We have a small warehouse, but we don't need large warehouse or facilities. We have one person, not 10 or 20 employees. We can keep very lean in our economies of scale when we grow these businesses because we can leverage their billions of dollars in infrastructure to put our products into your house. Yeah. And that's one of the great opportunities of this kind of thing, as you see the scope of it, is being able to hit millions of people with your product and know that they came to a location like Amazon to just buy it. So it's a great first, what we call an incubator channel. Yep. So as we incubate the products and brand, we have to make sure that's profitable, right? So for us, we say friends don't let friends sell $20 products on Amazon. You'll die. You'll not make any money. And there's a lot of people complaining because they have $20 to $40 to $30, $45 products on Amazon and they're not making a whole lot of money. And that's the truth of it. So we sell products $50 to $150 up to $500 in retail price point. We've been doing that for the better part of about 5 years now. We elevated all of our brands into that because we have a process we call green light. And it's literally, if it's green, go. If it's yellow, be careful. And if it's red, don't go. And there is backed a bunch of data from all of my brands. We have 21 under our control. And with those 21 we manage, we can see a lot of data, a lot of market types, a lot of aspects into that data. And then Amazon also gives us some data that we've compiled, data that not everybody has, into a tool set that allows us to see that green, yellow, and red. So when it comes down to what the heck do I sell, I literally go into my system and I pick an area I'm interested in, say pets, and then I go down in there and it says, well, here's where the pet categories reside in this big AI filing system. Okay. Yeah. Put it right here, not over here. That's very important. And then choose this one of these 7 products, because these are the top 7 that make up all of that customer need and that customer demand. Okay. See, Amazon's moved its systems away quietly in the background, like a lot of others have, towards large language model interpretations of data and these zettabytes and petabytes of information they have, and have now moved forward those systems into the front. Not everybody realizes that's happening as this transition occurs. And there's a lot of data that is not updated in the system. A lot of people who are missing this component. We're on the kind of cutting edge because, again, solving problems in your business is a daily, weekly, monthly activity. So we've been doing that for quite a while. And one of the things we want to do is get in line with that AI engine. So we make sure that we know what it wants. When it wants it, we see Cosmo is the new engine. And we see Rufus, which you may have played around with a little on your Amazon app.
No, I've never heard of Rufus.
Yeah, it's this Rufus thing, kind of like a personal shopper. But it's constantly getting information and feeding information. And it's kind of helping to train through the 200 million users what people want and what their customer intent is and what a customer need is. And so now they define everything by customer need and intent, and it's no longer defined by keywords.
Okay.
So it's a huge change for those who are understanding this, right?
That's actually really nice, because you're no longer stuck trying to figure out the right phrasing, etc., within the keyword SEO nightmare. To me, it's a nightmare. I know people who love it and live in that universe.
Well, sure. Since the days of the Google, right? I woke up there today and realized I'm older than Google. That's kind of weird, right?
Oh, well. We've lived through so much.
I mean, I'm 49, but I don't, we've done a lot in the last few years with the internet and stuff. It's changed quite a bit.
It's insane how much it's evolved and grown.
It's evolving very, very fast.
AI can become your best friend. It can become a support system as you guys have figured out how to use it within your structure for that. Right. AI can also become a detriment. So what might someone be using AI where it's detrimental to them in figuring out what would be the right product or the right segment?
Yeah. So most of the things you're going to see in the trends, if you kind of see it now, you're too late. Right. And so with AI and some of these tools, what you're seeing now is not what's actually advanced. So I've seen the advancement, right? We were predicting with 40% accuracy 20 plus years ago what people were calling in information wise and getting a 40% accuracy of what it was they were actually calling for. So we know now these systems are significantly advanced compared, and quantum chips and stuff are coming online. And most people are just playing with the tip of the iceberg. It's being slow rolled. We're kind of being boiled like a frog in water right now with AI, because most people don't realize just how advanced it actually is already. And so as this moves, it's moving faster and faster into industry as they roll it into corporations and other stuff, which are taking advantage of it all the way through supply chain, logistics, freight management, all of it, marketing, and everything is being impacted. So you just have to be careful to kind of get caught up in the idea that there's a perfect system, a perfect AI, a perfect whatever, and that AI itself is how you're probably going to make a lot of money. What you need to discover is, how can I take a business that's existing, that's been around for a long time. Okay, physical products have always been in demand in some capacity, and then utilize AI at the different levels of operations, control, management, marketing, finance, etc., and put AI into pieces of each of those components to help accelerate yourself, to time compress activities, to force replicate or multiply yourself, right, into different roles, taking one thing and making it 5. And AI can do that, and there's a lot of opportunities to do that. Instead of having a marketing team that does a bunch of AI, we can take multiple AI systems and build a 30-second marketing video that looks hyper-realistic now. We can use it in our research, which we do, to discover the products for us and then just present the products. Okay. Right. Using actual data from Amazon, using our green light process, I can now literally go in and see exactly the products that I need to sell and which brand I'm going to knock off. And so I create my competitor brand. I innovate in the difference. I don't have to invent anything. And I use AI to write the copy, the images, the graphic, do the media. When it goes out to market, we use AI to track it and optimize it. And then we use PPC marketing tools, pay-per-click marketing tools on Amazon to identify the right way to approach the market with ads and brand ads and video ads. And then literally just dial in those numbers like a flight controller in front of a dashboard now. never even have to touch the product, right? And those products are moving in logistics and freight chains that's controlled by AI and systems. I have one operator that control 5 companies that are 7-figure companies because of that. Okay. So they can replicate themselves into all these separate roles, and people need to kind of consider where they fit in that. And I think it seems very obvious that, well, the warehouse workers will go, but I think the middle management people, like I used to be, you're the target. Like what I was doing at IBM 20 years ago can be replicated by AI now. Mm-hmm. So if you're in any of those roles, I hate to tell the people who might be listening to this that have an MBA and this kind of stuff, I'm sorry, this is no longer relevant. If you're a software engineer not using AI today or practicing, the multiplication of software, bug testing, code testing, iteration testing with AI and feature development, et cetera, you're going to be behind. You're already behind, actually, so you better get to work. If you're going to go after the physical product world, just know many of us have been using it for years and years to get into that space. There's an advantage you have to working with folks like us versus going it alone, because you're just simply not going to know enough about what systems and what optimizations to use, because it is literally duplicating itself every 3 months now.
Yeah. Scary. So let's talk about your consulting company. You help people get started in through all of this FBA, Amazon FBA, industry. And so how do you bring people in? Do you have a process to identify who's the right people for you to work with? And then without giving all of your secrets away, what do you walk them through to get them to where, like you mentioned, you have a client where there's 7 figures.
So in simple terms, I don't have a course or program for anybody listening to this right now. Okay, I have what's a one-on-one mentorship for a year to work with myself and my team under 12 months. The goal is to build you into a CEO operator within that 12 months. The reason I do that is I don't have any employees. And I don't have any employees because I got rid of them years ago. And instead, I took the time to pour into individuals who wanted to work with us in our processes and teach them exactly the process by which we became successful and what we're doing today to replicate that process into our multiple brands. Mm-hmm. And as I train them up and they become successful in their business, like Zach and Lennon, then they have opportunities to profit share with us in other businesses and become operators. So as they're successful in their business and we see them doing great, we ask, hey, would you be interested in running or developing this brand with us in this company? And we vet them through that process. And if they are in, then they get a percentage of profit in that split and they become the operator of that company for us. This could be a business we're growing from the ground up or a company that we are acquiring, because we're also in acquisitions right now.
Okay.
We're acquiring companies between 10 and 50 million in size. We're under LOI for one right now. It's a multi-channel, which is also a requirement. So we talked about Amazon, but I want anybody listening to this to understand that a real e-commerce company has multiple legs, at least 3. Mm-hmm. So we will go out to potentially retail, Shopify, your own website, TikTok, Wayfair, any marketplace or platform we can reach that customer beyond Amazon. We're going to go grab them too. So Amazon is just a sales channel. Okay. And we like to remind people that we sell listings on Amazon. It sells products. There's a very big difference in how we approach this market. So everybody thinks about I'm selling a product, but in actuality, I'm selling data to an AI engine. And the AI engine is selling products to people and delivering it. So we have to really understand where we fit in this marketing role, this direct market responding role. So while I have 5 private label brands, everybody gets this reversed. So if you're going to work with me, you're going to understand how to sell data to an AI engine.
Okay.
Right? And then it's going to support it with products that people get at their home that they love. That's the second most important thing. So we will develop products, but then we're going to let the AI engine sell those to people.
Yes, to the right people.
Because it's very good at it. Yeah, it's very good at it. So as we go through that process, I interview people. They go through what's called a DISC assessment to go in and determine the 4 quadrants of a business personality profile type, not your intellectual, how do I feel, INFJ kind of thing. This is to determine your aptitude for certain areas of business. There's a specific profile that I'm looking at, a business builder. And usually you'll see transitional types of roles that fit into that. So what I mean by that is a lot of my people are engineers or software people. I've got doctors, I've got dentists, I've got stay-at-home moms and high school dropouts. It really just depends on your aptitude for accepting and transitioning and being able to accept a process. Mm-hmm. While having a dominant personality, your stable, conscientious behavior is to do the daily, weekly, monthly tasks that nobody else is willing to do. And that's where a true operator becomes successful in any business, frankly, and specifically in mine. So I'm helping to profile the right person. If you're not a good fit, I'll just simply say it's not a good fit. Or if you don't like it, you'll say it's not. So it's an invite-only process at the end of the day. And we don't work with a lot of people, typically 5 to 7 per month. If I find those people, sometimes I'll go months and I just don't find the right people to work with because I have a bigger vision in mind. And the last part of that is to acquire their company. So as they work with us, as they build that company over 3, 4, 5 years, if they reach at least $1 million in EBITDA, then they qualify for an acquisition in the market. Now, I have what's called a first rights of refusal, not a contractual, but a gentleman's agreement that they come to us first. And they give us an ability to look at that business. And as we look at that business, we have 2 right now that we're looking at acquiring from within our client group. So they have both the beginning and the growth aspect with us, the omni-channel aspect, which we will show them how to open multiple channels of their business to increase the valuation of the business. It's a saleable asset in 4 or 5 years, really. And then look at acquiring that from them. So they have the full gamut of opportunity when they work with us on the inside of this.
And when you say acquire, you're acquiring the business, but is that with the opportunity for them to stay within the operator role of that entity?
They can if they choose to. Yeah, if they choose to stay on and they're a great operator, we would give them the opportunity to be a part of that, where they could keep a percentage of profit and a percentage of ownership. And then we would, create a finance, however that works with them to acquire the company and keep them as an operator with it.
Okay, cool. So lots of potential for any direction, really, for someone to take within the relationship.
Lots of growth and opportunity. Yeah, I want them to really become an operator because that's how I help grow my company and how I grow my acquisitions is by creating the operators. Yeah. So they may not have any experience in e-com. They don't need to come with an actual product. We'll show them exactly what the heck to sell. I'll show them, with the software, the methodologies. We'll show them the training. We work with people every week. We have live coaching calls with a group every week. We do one-on-one calls to ensure their opportunity. And we provide all of our software that runs the business that we've created and managed in-house that does and gives access to that information I mentioned earlier, as long as with all the automation aspects. So if you are, just thinking about this as an opportunity, do not treat your business like a side hustle or a hobby business, or that's all you're going to get out of it. Yeah. If you're going to truly want this to go like I did, and you want 3, 4, 5 years to, do something very difficult or, not as easy as the rest of the world might see, so you can live like nobody else after that, then building a business is your real way to do that. You can build that empire or retire.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, and that's the thing is we as a society, truly, we need to start getting comfortable with knowing that we have to slog it out and put in the hard work and be committed to that. It isn't just a snap of your fingers and here you are, right? There's effort required.
Do not fall for any of those things. That is not what this is. I think a lot of people hear this at times and they think, well, it's a course. No, they hear maybe, well, you're going to do it for me. No, I'm not. This is a done with you component. I want to train you up into something to become an operator. I have a lot of families that do this with us. We have a lot of both men and women who are interested in being a part of this because they are looking at their next generation. They're looking at the generational time freedom opportunities. They want to get away from the current slug and the life that they're in. And that's where we kind of train a lot of people up. I've got pharmacists, that are doing this. And state reps, actually. So It really just gets down to the understanding that there's a business practice and a model. And my intent is to get you into an operator position, right? Is to get you into a position so that at some point we may have an opportunity to work together. Or the bigger, hairy, audacious goal I have is that you get to a business that is in an acquisition capacity that we can look at acquiring into our portfolio. So while we were doing this over here with a company called Patriot Growth Capital, that's my capitalization private equity group, which I'm a partner in that group, and we are acquiring those 10 to 50 million. There's a track over there that which we're going out and kissing frogs and going through the due diligence and doing the hard work that it takes to basically go through all of that. It takes about 500 companies to find the 2 we put letters of intent on, and 1 is going through that process. It's a very difficult process. So in that same time, I'm also over here raising up the operators. Yeah. And with this particular group, which is interesting, last part, it is a veteran-backed, veteran-funded, veteran-owned business. And with that, we are bringing veterans into the operations of these companies, giving them a generational time and opportunity freedom, income, a way out of military life or a way up to keep them from all the troubles and try to save as many of them as we can who have opportunity, as opposed to any other things we see with our veterans that are not good. Including suicide rates and that kind of nonsense. We were fighting against that. The team helped about 16,000 veterans last year and their families. And with this process, we are giving them opportunities to learn. become a practitioner. And after 5 years, there's an opportunity, if they get through their 10,000 hours and certifications with us, to become the owner of the company and acquire it away from us.
Amazing. That's beautiful. I got chills when you were telling me about it. What inspired you to have that so focused on veterans? Like we all know and understand the difficulties and the traumas and the PTSD and everything else, but what really drove you to focus on them for that?
I did not have the honor to serve myself, but a lot of family and friends and men my age that I was good friends with went to the military or died in wars because of this. My father's a two-tour Vietnam vet. My grandfather was a lieutenant in the Army in World War II, and I was actually on the team that tracked Hitler around. So my grandma was a second lieutenant in the Army. My family has been ingrained in the Army for a long time. In fact, I was going to go be a fighter pilot. That's all I wanted to do. I'm a guy who likes to go fast in everything I do. Not all things, but the long story short is when I was going through high school, I wanted to be a fighter pilot. I actually had no intent to go to college. While I played music and did all that stuff, my second semester of my senior year, I went down to apply and go through the track to become a fighter pilot. The problem was I'm too tall. While I'm 6'5", my height is in my waist up. So when they put the helmet on, we were training in the F-15E, I could not put the canopy down. So with that, I could not be a fighter pilot. They're like, well, you can be in aviation, you can fly the big planes, you can go work on it. I'm like, I don't want to do any of that. I wanted to be a fighter pilot. So that dream was kind of, So I backpedaled and started filling out applications to go to college.
Oh, man.
So with that, I met people in life, and I have a lot of friends, and I've got, people in the military, active and non-active now. The group that I met over there and have compassion on those guys because of their life. They're 20, 30 years veterans in the military, and just got to have great camaraderie with them through the relationships that I've had and empathy towards friends and family who've served in the military and been a part of this. And with that, it's just a great cause to be involved in, to give people an opportunity to show their strengths. And to show their compassion, if you will, for giving them opportunities to be what they can ultimately become, but giving them a track of opportunity as opposed to just here, thanks for your service, goodbye.
Yeah, instead of a handout, giving them a hand up instead. And that's
great way of saying it.
That's so vital. I think, personally, I think the more that we can start doing that and having that community approach, even on the broader scale, the stronger all of our, regions, nations, et cetera, can become, because half the time, all we need is someone to just say, I believe in you. Let's give you an opportunity. And then when we have a sense of purpose, it's amazing. Like humans can be unstoppable, right? So
that's right. And if your purpose and value goes beyond profit, it's very important for me that you understand that. When we talk about business, and profit is a major component of what we do in business to ensure that we can pay ourselves, pay for the business, pay for the products, make the engine work. It's not a 4-letter word. I think some people hear that and think that it is. But if we can push purpose and value first, then we will get the profits out of that. That's what I call the 5 F's, right? The first one for me is faith. You have to have faith beyond yourself, something greater. You have to be willing to step out of the boat and operate in faith. When you go start a business, that's a faith journey. Whether you think about it or not, you have to go outside of the norm, outside the convention. You have to be doing and acting in ways that are not normal to the world. And so the second component of that is understanding who your friends and family are. Sometimes those are interchangeable. In my life, friends have been closer than family at times. And having those two components in my life while having my family and wife and daughters and my extended family and stuff is an important component. Sometimes friends are closer. So find out who they are. They're a big component of your life. And maybe you are in someone else's life. And finances, right? The fourth one is finances is important. You have to run, you have to make money, you have to keep things going. A business creates jobs, it creates opportunity. It goes beyond your purpose and value. If you keep it beyond yourself, serve and create a servant leadership position in your business, not just to serve yourself, and finances can be rewarded with that. Yeah. And the final one is freedom. At the end of the day, you and I are not here without our freedoms. We do not, our liberties, our personal freedoms, our freedoms as a country, what we have as a choice of freedom is always there. Yes, it has consequences. Sometimes they're positive, sometimes they're negative. But at the end of the day, if you're listening to this and you feel trapped and maybe you're caught in a few excuses, you've got to remember your opportunity begins at the end of your excuses, and that we all have those freedoms. You just have to choose to stand up and say, I will take whatever consequence there is of keeping and gaining my freedom. And one of those things could be breaking out of the current system you're in.
Absolutely. Well said. Did you have to go through any soul searching to identify your 4 F's, or is this something that was raised into you?
No, not at all. I mean, my dad, a very hardworking guy. My mom was a stay-at-home mom in a faith-based family. Just a very great family. I love them dearly. They've been living on the hilltop here in the country with us for 8 years. We retired them out here, and they live just literally a stone's throw down the road from us. And my girls get to go up there constantly, and they hang around us all the time, which is great. But really, I mean, what it gets down to is understanding that life is a journey, and we should not be afraid of the steps. Whether you fail or you succeed. Everybody wants to succeed in every step in life, and they're always afraid of the failure, which puts them in a fear category. And in the fear category comes scarcity and limiting beliefs. Yeah. I was never that person. I'm the guy that jumps off the cliff without a parachute, right? I'll figure it out on the way down. And that has always been my life. Sometimes it goes well. Sometimes I hit the rocks. I've had a marriage that crashed in the past, a long time ago. Partly her, partly me. I take my ownership of the things I was not good at as a husband, as a person, and learned through that divorce. Very terrible situation, lost pretty much everything and had to start over. So that was a difficult road. And I learned a lot about who I am, and what I should not be. Later on in life, pushed the boundaries of business in one category and didn't see the forest through the trees and got caught up in a bankruptcy, a strategic business bankruptcy to indemnify myself from the legal ramifications of what the partners were doing in that company. I had to get out of it. And in the process, I had to go through a bankruptcy in order to indemnify myself. Because I didn't do anything wrong. And thankfully, I was found not to do anything wrong. And that all worked out great in the end, but I had to go and restart again. And at that point, I had a wife and 3 children. And, looking down at my bank account with says Arvis bank account, $569. Okay, awesome. This is going to be a rough ride. And pulled out of that. So I learned what I was willing to do. I learned that with the support of my wife, who's been amazing in my life through that process. And, hey, I got the kids, you go figure out what you need to do. And, gave me the space to do that, to risk and reward. She's been, if you my ride or dive, if you will. And through that challenge and giving me that space to not, personally attack me when others did. Family and friends, you idiot, how could you do this? We lost family and friends during that period because they just couldn't understand where we were going. And I had kind of a vision for where I thought we could be in life. And it was putting purpose and value over. It was a life that I envisioned us getting to, and we're there now. And with her help, we've created that dream together. But with that came a lot of understanding about who I am and what I'm willing to do and not willing to do and where the boundaries are. And I've pushed them all, right? And with that, I can say I've lived pretty good. Couple lives already.
You've lived quite a few. Yeah.
I have. So at this point, I have no regrets about where I'm at or where I'm going or who I'm doing it with or what, I plan to do in the future. And I can say I lived. And for those of you who are listening to this, who maybe are wondering and fearful and you need guarantees, don't. No. You have this opportunity. Go get it.
Yeah.
Stop fearing. Just do it.
And life is so much more expansive when we don't look for the guarantee.
It opens up the doors to amazing relationships, experiences, real experiences with real people. You get to find out who you trust, and who will stand by you. I found out very quickly in my life who is my inner circle, who stays with me and who goes. Yeah. You think everybody's going to stick around in the hard times? Well, surprise.
No, it's amazing actually how moments of like trials and tribulation will really push out people that you never thought they would leave, but it's because they can't handle the rocky times.
And they can't handle on the success either, right? So it's a very interesting conundrum that there are those personality types out there that when the failures, they want to ditch you, and then in the successes, they're also gonna ditch you. Yeah. And so you just have to be careful with all of that, but you have to be confident in who you are and what you want and when you're going to go get it. No matter what business you choose, whatever life you choose, if you want to get after it, just take the next 3 to 5 years to do it, right? Stay tenacious. Don't listen to the voices in your head. If you have a faith belief, get in the Bible and do what you need to do to strengthen your relationship. But, don't regret the fact that if you tried and failed the first time, you should fail forward and do it again. This room is nothing but a series of failures. I've taken a lot of shots and I've missed many of them. And I could pack this room to the ceiling with my amount of failures. Yeah, I have some good successes now. I own my home. I have my businesses. I have my income. I'm very good and set to go for the future. But none of that came without risk. And I think this thing about a risk-free guarantee that everybody constantly wants in life is going to, cause you to wake up one day and discover that you are just a badge number that came up in an accounting line and you're out. And all that thought process about how valuable you thought you were and stuff will all go out the door. Okay. You're always a number in somebody else's business. And unless you want to change all that and have an opportunity to fight for yourself, even if things happen that you can't control, if you can't control them, like it happens in business and we can't control it, but I'm an authority in that business and I take ownership of that business and I will deal with the problems. Right. And so I don't need anybody else, to affect that for me. I can affect it by myself. And when you get to that level of confidence and empowerment, you have to see it from this side to truly understand where it comes from, because it wasn't there for me, right, a long time ago. And it's one of those things that we extend into the relationship with people who work with us, is giving them that confidence, that bridge, and saying, look, I got a process, I got a plan, I just need you to follow it. I don't need you to show up and be more intellectual. I don't need you to show up and with more ideas. I just need you to follow the dang process. And then when you get it going, and then when you see it work, you can start playing with it and doing your own things. But really just, trust the process. And I've seen some really wonderful things occur with people who can do that. And we've done a lot of business that way, and it's a lot of fun to do it. I can't work with everybody. I only choose to work with those I feel that I can actually impact.
Yeah, of course. Naturally. I think we have to be sometimes a little bit more choosy on who we do work with, because
correct.
We want to be effective in that relationship too.
I do. I want to affect it, and I have to listen to the terminology and the language, and that's why when they talk to me. It's why when you reach me on a text, you're going to get me or Lennon. He's going to tell me what we're doing, and I'm going to watch what's going, and I'm always on the backside. I have no sales team. I'm not interested in that. We're going to grow our software up and launch it this year, 2025. Our software will be out in the market. I'm going to kind of invert this relationship just a little bit into more of a service provider. But we'll still have what we're going to call cohorts later on for those who want to come in like 12-week sprints and launch their product in 12 weeks. We're going to be doing that. But our software, which is Cayman Data, is the software, and the Greenlight process is going to be a part of that. And many people are going to get an opportunity to learn about the right ways to choose the data for the products and how to get the engines to love it all across the internet. And then you deliver a physical product, which kind of connects that whole thing. And that makes a whole lot of sense for me. I know so many people think digitally, and a lot of AI is digital, but honestly, physical products have become so great because I can touch them.
Oh yeah, people can still love the tangible, right?
Tactile. Imagine that, right?
Go figure.
Yeah, second oldest profession in the world.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and speaking of like the tangible, the tactile thing, you have a book, so Almost Automated Income with FBA, and you guys are gifting a free ebook copy. Yeah. However, you could purchase the printed copy if you want that tactile. So
if you're a reader, and who likes to touch the book, we have that option as well. It really is a strategy guide, to be very clear. It's not a tactical, here, open your browser, do these kinds of things. There are, it's YouTubes and videos for all that. Really, if you don't understand the business, the strategy, if you don't understand a P&L and finances, if you don't understand marketing to some degree, and you want to understand how all those components work in an e-commerce business, this is the book for you. The foreword was written by my mentor, Kevin Harrington. He was the original shark from, As Seen on TV, Shark Tank. And is a really good guy. He's really leveled up my brain in terms of what's really possible. And having sold $6 billion in e-commerce products, I really I don't necessarily aspire to be everything he is, because I don't want to travel away from my family. More power to him, love him for it. But I like my business model better. But we have a combined business model that we spoke about in this business and in the information you guys check out about us. But this is 15 different chapters from my podcast, all focused on the 15 different areas that make up what we call our 5x5 product launch process. And it's about finance and marketing, et cetera. It's a conversational format, and it is the strategies and case studies that follow up and the resources that can be utilized to kind of do what we do, and should give you a pretty good idea of what it takes to build an 8-figure e-commerce company.
Amazing. Yeah, I'll be downloading mine here soon. But awesome. I have 2 questions for you, and I think I already have the answer. Have you ever considered motivational speaking?
I think I'm doing it right now.
You are? Yeah, that's why.
Yes. I get asked to go to events and stuff. I only attend one event a year. That's the Wealth Without Wall Street convention coming up in August of 2025. Amazing. And that is all about building wealth without Wall Street.
Yeah. Perfect. And then do you ever sleep?
I do. Lately I've had a little bit of congestion in my head and just allergies and nonsense. So I'm sleeping a little longer than normal, but usually 4 to 6 hours is about all I need.
Oh, wow.
And I have plenty of energy after that. Right now I'm getting about 6 to 8 because I'm just not feeling terribly great with all these allergies. But I think once that goes out, I have more than enough energy. Yeah.
'Tis allergy season. I'm amazed. Yeah. Looking at your list of all the things you do, I'm like, this guy must not sleep because
I actually sleep really well. I have an amazing team of people around me, right? I have been blessed with some really long-term relationships, trusted relationships. My virtual assistant, who's not really, I can call her virtual. She lives in Florida. Her name's Nicole, but she's been with me for more than 5 years, and I can't do business without her.
Yeah.
Lynnon's been around for about 3 years. Reed's been around for about 12 years. My partner, the longest in business. And I just have a really good cohort of people around me that I trust implicitly in business, and they make my life quite a bit easier.
Yeah, back to that friends and family, because if you can have them within your inner core of your business, then you're rolling along as well.
Yeah, and we got Aaron and the team on one side, and so I just have this. He works on the marketing side of what we do, and came in and stuff, and they just they're an amazing group of people, and very, very, very good at what they do, and have kind of risen to the cream of the top rises to the top, as they say. So as we got involved and have a mission together to do business, I do get to sleep because I have a lot of wonderful people around me.
Wonderful. Your 6 is not my 10 required, but hey.
Maybe I've been accused of drinking too much coffee, but I don't think that's it, because coffee is supposed to keep you awake, and I actually sleep pretty good.
There you go.
But I usually don't get to bed till like 2 o'clock in the morning, and we're up by about 7 or 8 usually.
Wow, that's impressive. Well, I mean, you found what works for you, and you have that passion in what you do, and clearly you have this really powerful message that I think you end up sharing with your clients that you bring on to coach and bring on in that process for that mentorship as well. And I mean, it's working. So bravo.
It is working.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. This has been amazing. Anybody who's wanting to get that book, the coupon code is going to be dropped into the show notes, and all of Neil's contact information, where you can find him on all the socials and all the pages, will be there too. And Neil, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me on, Lisa. I appreciate you.